Hi, good evening, everyone. On behalf of Zel Education, I, Satyamen Nandedkar, welcome all of you to this very, very interesting webinar that we have planned for you today, which is basically discussing with you those points which make ACCA stand apart as compared to an MBA. So the title of our webinar today is 5 things that ACCA will teach you that MBA won't. Now, this happens to be a very interesting topic, and let me tell you why. A lot of these students who I have been mentoring for years do come up with this question very often. So I thought, why not utilize this opportunity to, put that question to rest once and for all. A little bit about Zell Education. Of course, I can see some of the participants who are already students with us. So we at Zell, we are an upskilling institute wherein we train students and mentor students in accounting and finance related courses. ACCA is our flagship offering that we have been mentoring students for over 7 to 8 years now. And of course, we are also training students in CFA, USCMA, USCPA, Diploma IFRS, and a lot of other short courses. Our office is, of course, at Mumbai with a branch office in Delhi and Bangalore. And right now, of course, I'm sitting out of the Mumbai office. I am a faculty with Zel Education. I have been training students in ACCA for around 4 years now. I must have mentored somewhere around 3,500 to 3,800 students over a span of these 4 years that I have been working. And I'm a chartered accountant, ACCA, CS myself. And this topic that we have planned for today happens to be of personal interest to me also. So before we begin our discussion on today's topic, which is how is ACCA, what are the things that ACCA teaches you, which are not taught to you in an MBA? Before we get into that, let's understand what these courses stand for and what is it that you get to learn when you join these. To begin with, ACCA, as you know, stands for Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. Now, when I started doing this course, I was already a CA myself. So I always used to get confused here when I'm writing this ACCA, what comes first? Does chartered come first? Does certified come first? Till I put it in my conscious memory that it is Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. And MBA, of course, as you know, is Master of Business Administration. Now, these two courses, if you were to think about them, are very different from each other. In fact, they are as different as chalk is from cheese. Now, ACCA curriculum, ACCA course helps you get the membership of an institute which is known as the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. And once you clear the 13 papers that we are going to talk about that also in the later part of our discussion, this particular curriculum makes you an expert in the field of financial reporting, finance, taxation, auditing, and a lot of other activities like costing and all. MBA, on the other hand, depending on what specialization you want to choose for yourself, you could have an MBA in finance, you could have an MBA in human resources, you could have something in marketing. So that becomes a very specific domain. If you choose to do an MBA in finance, of course, excuse me, your focus will be only on finance related aspects and how you can better guide your company, how you can be a better CFO or finance controller as you move along. Now, ACCA, on the other hand, gives you knowledge about multiple areas. As I mentioned, it could be financial reporting, it could be auditing, it could be taxation, it could be performance management, it could be costing. So the focus of these two courses is entirely different. When we talk about that, let's look at, some of those key aspects which separate ACCA from MBA and how it's not really a question of which one's better because, it's like comparing apples and oranges. They are two very, very diverse courses talking about two very, very diverse aspects of work. So the comparison is more of what can this tell you, which the other one cannot. It's ideally not a question of which one's better, because both have their own utility, which in a way separates one from the other. So the first thing that your ACCA curriculum or any chartered accountancy curriculum across the world will give you is technical accounting knowledge. When I say technical accounting knowledge, I am specifically talking about the accounting standards or the international financial reporting standards. Now, what does that mean? If I were to tell you that you are an ACCA aspirant, this course is going to teach you, say, for example, how to account for transactions which are denominated in foreign exchange, or how to account for transactions of leases. Now, think about it this way. What is a lease? A lease is basically taking premises on rent because you cannot purchase it outright. Taking premises on rent, paying monthly or annual rentals, utilizing it for your purpose, and once the job is done, returning that to its owner. Now, what MBA will teach you is MBA will tell you, should you go for a leasing option? Should you go for a buying option? This is something which ACCA definitely tells you in the financial management module. It also tells you that whenever I am entering into a lease transaction, how exactly should I account for that? Is there a set of rules and principles which will guide us on how the accounting has to be done? Now, why do you think is technical accounting knowledge so important? If you were to really think about it this way, that how do you make a decision on whether to invest in a particular company? If, say, tomorrow you want to invest in Asian Paints, what are those conditions that you will look at? What is that set of criteria that you will want to look at to make a decision whether to invest in Asian Paints or not? Of course, people will give you all sorts of different complex terms, candle charts and technical analysis and fundamental analysis. I would say you have to look at the financial statements of the company. And who prepares the financial statements of the company? Of course, chartered accountants, ACCAs play the most important role in preparing financial statements. That set of financial statements that you get, it basically talks about what? It basically tells you that over the last 1 year, this is the profitability, this is the financial position, this is the cash flow movement, and a whole lot of other activities that have happened in the company. You want to give a detailed download to the readers. Now, forget all the technical analysis and all those parts. The most important document that anybody would use to decide whether to invest in this company or not is financial statements. And who makes these financial statements? Your ACCAs, CAs, CPAs, these guys, only they possess the technical knowledge to do the right kind of financial reporting. And that is where ACCA comes to your rescue as, excuse me, as opposed to your MBA. MBA is more of a, I would say it gives a breadth of knowledge, but ACCA gives you a lot of in-depth technical expertise on, because we were talking about accounting, it gives you detailed knowledge on financial reporting. How exactly are financial statements to be prepared, and what are those basic principles that you need to take into account before you have started preparing the financial statements. Now, even if you were to understand financial reporting in MBA, it still is very, very limited in terms of what it can tell you. It will only give you those aspects which are necessary for decision making. But how exactly to prepare, what principles are you supposed to follow, why a particular accounting treatment makes more sense, that aspect is something which only your ACCA will provide you. And more important than that is the audit function, which your ACCA will help you to perform. Now, what is audit? An audit is an independent examination of financial statements and then making a comment. What kind of comment? Whether these financial statements present a true and fair view. Are they right? Are they fair? When I say fair, is that accounting treatment logical? Does that accounting treatment make sense? And you also have to comment on whether these financial statements, whether these specific financial statements that we are talking about, are they compliant with the accounting standards? Are they compliant with the relevant laws and regulations? You make an audit report, and as an auditor, which only ACCA will help you to become, you have to sign these financial statements and the audit report. When you sign these financial statements, the readers get a certain kind of confidence that, oh, this has been signed by an ACCA. That means, excuse me, all the basic technical checks, all the true and fair, the compliance and all of those parts have automatically been taken care of. And because an ACCA has signed it, there's a certain kind of reliance that is placed on these financial statements. Nobody else gets that kind of power. Only chartered accountants, ACCAs have that power wherein their signature carries that kind of an importance. You will trust the financial statements more, knowing that they have been audited by an ACCA. So, and to get there, your MBA is not going to help you. It's your ACCA which is going to take you in that particular direction. Now, second part where, ACCAs score over MBA or similar other professionals is that they have in-depth knowledge of taxation. Now, I'm sure around 10 days ago, the union budget was, of course, discussed in Parliament and it was tabled there. Now, the first question that we as ACCAs and chartered accountants get is, how much tax will I save? Will I be required to pay more in the future, or there is some hope for me? Is my tax liability going to reduce in the next year? That is a question that is very, very commonly asked across. Now, to possess in-depth knowledge of taxation, that is the job of an ACCA or a chartered accountant. MBAs can only sometimes focus on the financial aspect of it or on the tax saving aspect of it from a cash flow angle. But if I were to answer an individual's question, when will I be required to file my return? Is there any tax saving scope possible? Where should I invest my money to get that tax saving? My company has deducted so much tax. Is there a way I can get that amount refunded to me? This is just one aspect of direct tax or income tax. Apart from that, you being ACCAs will also be in a position wherein people will ask you questions about your GST, your custom duty, your value-added tax. The technical ability, the technical expertise to answer these questions comes only to ACCAs and chartered accountants, because in their curriculum, when they are studying and appearing for these papers, that is when they get that kind of technical knowledge. They also get to know how to read a particular piece of law. Now, if I were to say, let me make this very simple for you. If I were to say, subjects in ACCA are BT, FA, MA, which means subjects in ACCA are only 1, 2, and 3. If I were to make another statement, subjects in ACCA include BT, FA, and MA, that means there are many more subjects, but it specifically includes these 3. Now, to a layman, these two statements are not very, very different, but to an accounting professional, to a person who has gone through the rigor of studying taxation, he will be able to appreciate the nuance in this, that having a look at a statement, there's a literal understanding and there is an in-depth understanding. Your ACCA, your CA, these courses will train you not just on the calculation part, not just on the balance sheet part, but they will also train you on how to read the legislation so that you can give the right kind of advice to your clients. Now, in MBA, the exposure is limited in the sense that, see, MBA, if, as I told you, there are multiple variants in MBA. If you choose to do MBA in finance, you will be exposed more to financial decision-making related roles, or that is the kind of knowledge that will come your way. Here, the emphasis is on understanding taxation at its very core. When to pay tax, how to save, when not to pay, is there a workaround, can we plan tax in an effective manner? All of those specific aspects your ACCA training will help you to reach that particular point. Now, let's talk of ethics and professionalism. When I was talking about your financial reporting, I was talking about your taxation, and I also spoke about tax planning and finding workarounds. All of these activities have to be done with a certain level of professionalism while keeping in mind that there is a code of ethical conduct that I as a professional have to comply with. Now, the reason why so much reliance is placed on your signature, the reason why people believe that if an ACCA has signed my audit report or my set of financial statements, I can trust it, is because in your curriculum, you have been taught the basics and the detail of all your ethics. Now, the word ethics should not be used loosely. When I talk of ethics, the code of conduct is very clear. It specifically outlines for you what are those ethical principles that you need to follow. You need to be objective. You need to be independent. There should be no conflict of interest. There has to be integrity. There has to be constant updation of professional knowledge. All of those things, when incorporated in your curriculum, they automatically bring you to a point where your behavior at work, your behavior as a professional accountant will be guided more by these ethical principles, which in a way makes your work all the more trustworthy as compared to that of someone who probably does not have to go through the rigors of that particular process. I'm not, at no point am I saying that only ACCAs are the ethical professionals and others have no semblance of understanding of ethics. I'm not saying that. I'm specifically saying that this course trains you in a way that when you set out to work as a professional, those ethical standards, those guidelines are ingrained in your DNA. I'm sorry, the weather is such, my throat's a little sore. Okay. I'll answer all your questions, guys. Don't worry. All of your questions will be answered. So the difference between the two courses is that this ethics and professionalism is ingrained as a part of your curriculum, and in a lot of ways, it is hammered into your DNA. Now, after you clear your 13 papers, and sometimes even before that, there's an additional module that you need to study, which is known as the Ethics and Professional Skills module, EPSM. Now, this EPSM module is a short course which gives you a refresher on the ethical standards, and you cannot become a member of the institute unless you have finished your EPSM module successfully. So not only is it taught when they teach you the individual subjects in ACCA, there's a separate module which talks about the importance of ethics and professionalism while you are studying. And you don't get your membership unless you have successfully completed this particular module. As I told you, at no point are we saying that only ACCAs are the ethical professionals. Other professionals are also expected to uphold the highest ethical standards, but with us, it's defined that this is what you have to follow if you want to become a successful accountant. And talking of professionalism, this particular word is of, a lot of interest to me for one specific reason, that in India, nobody understands the word professional. They believe that, oh, if you are rude to someone, you are a professional. That's how, modern India thinks, which is completely wrong. To be a good professional is that you constantly need to have the ability of critical thinking. You need to be very, very clear and crisp in your communication. You should uphold the high ethical standards that your profession has laid down for you, and you should be able to work cohesively in a team so that you can put across whatever point that you want to make without antagonizing the other party and still getting the job done. That is a skill which all of us need to develop when during our journey of becoming a professional. Unless that part is clear, it becomes very difficult to function in a constantly dynamic environment. Now, talking about how ACCA teaches you something else as compared to an MBA, the one part that ACCA and accounting courses across the world focus on is financial regulation. Now, what exactly is financial regulation? Today, if you want to get an investment from, say, a private equity fund, okay, and that private equity fund is set up in Mauritius or it is set up in Singapore, and you want funding to come to you from this particular fund which is located overseas. Now, an MBA or a professional on those lines, what he will do is he will make all the calculations, cash flow, discounted cash flow, adjusted present value, and all sorts of financial parameters he will calculate, and he will present a report stating that, okay, raising money from a Singapore source makes more sense than raising money from a Mauritius source. That is what will be very clearly told. But it's not so easy bringing money from another country to India or vice versa. How do you achieve that? There are so many people and so many agencies who are standing in the way of that money coming to you. There's Reserve Bank of India, RBI, which has very specifically, it is regulating something known as the Foreign Exchange Management Act. When money is coming from a foreign country, there's a whole list of compliances that you have to fulfill. If you are an insurance company, then of course the Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India, IRDAI, will be standing right there between you and the money. You have to fulfill the conditions laid down by IRDAI to let that money come into your specific company. You have SEBI, which is the Securities and Exchange Board of India. You have the Company Law Board or the Ministry of Corporate Affairs administering these activities via the Companies Act. So to bring in $100 also in this country, it's not so simple. Financial calculations can tell you whether to do it or not, and if so, from which source. That part is approved. But how to get the money? I know I have someone in Mauritius who's willing to send me those $100,000. But what do I need to do to bring that money in my country? What financial regulations are applicable? How do I make sure that I'm compliant with these? Because let me tell you, if you are non-compliant in any way, there, as this entire list of agencies and people are standing right there to catch hold of you and put you behind bars for non-compliance. So you need to be compliant with FEMA, you need to be compliant with IRDA, SEBI, Companies Act, I don't know, a lot of other statutes that are applicable to your geography. Now, ACCAs during the course of their journey to become professionals are trained in this particular department. As I told you earlier, how to read a particular piece of legislation, how to read laws, how to interpret them, and how to apply them. And the amount of responsibility that is bestowed upon you if you're performing this role is immense. Unless you do your job right, the finance guys might put up all sorts of calculations in front of you, but unless you do your job right as an ACCA professional, as someone who understands the law and the taxation part of it, that money cannot come in. And unless that money comes in, all those calculations are merely on a piece of paper or in an Excel sheet. So your role is all the more important when it comes to compliance, when it comes to financial regulation. As I told you, in MBA, the focus is on deciding, oh, should I raise it from this source or from source B? What are my calculations? What is my discounted cash flow? What is my adjusted present value? What is my net present value? All of those calculations, decision-making calculations. But in ACCA, decision has been done. The verdict is clear. Bring money from source B. What do I need to do to bring money from source B? That is what my financial regulation talks all about. And as ACCAs, who better than ACCAs to take care of this particular part of the process? And financial analysis and business planning. Now, this is an area which is overlapping in both the courses. Now, financial analysis is looking at financial statements and making comments on the financial health of the company. making comments about parts like interest cover. Does the company earn enough profit to pay its interest? Or making a comment on whether the debt equity structure of this company is meaningful for me. Has this company taken a lot of debt? Is it only surviving on borrowed funds? If yes, then how to remedy that? How to plan my expansion activities into the future? What kind of ratios and numbers to use for making that particular decision? All of that is something which forms the base of financial analysis and business planning. And it is here that the two professionals kind of overlap each other, or they kind of coincide with each other, their roles and what they are expected to do. ACCAs, of course, they have training. They receive that training in financial analysis and business planning, but not just from a decision-making perspective, they also understand these things from a regulatory and a compliance angle. On the other hand, MBAs, of course, they think more from a business growth perspective. How exactly is the trajectory of the business lined up for the next 4 or 5 years? What should we be equipped with to handle this particular growth trajectory for the next 5 years? All of these are important aspects which are taught to you when you are doing your MBA. Now, of course, talking about, I've taken the liberty, I told you 5 points, but I've taken the liberty to add one more point. See, ACCAs can do the job of an MBA, but the converse is not true necessarily. Why? Because when ACCAs are getting trained to write their exams, it's not just financial management or costing. They're also being trained in accounting advisory, audit, transactions, financial reporting, management consulting, all of those parts. MBA's focus is only on the specific domain, which is finance. ACCAs can do the job of an MBA very nicely. The converse is not true necessarily. Why? Because during the course of their academic journey, they are not trained for this aspect in any way. So there is an extra effort on the job that MBAs have to put in, as opposed to that ACCAs are pretty clearly sorted on that front. Now, you have to understand that when I talk about scope and opportunities, some people might end up asking that, can I do MBA after ACCA? Of course. How will it help? When you are doing your ACCA, you already have acquired knowledge of a lot of specific areas which are overlapping with MBA. So should you choose to do MBA, you could possibly take up, say, for example, an MBA in finance, because the base is already there. Now you have to build up on it. I have a question which says that, can ACCA students apply for MBA anywhere in the world with the BSc in Applied Accounting from Oxford Brookes University? Yes, that is considered as a very legitimate, valid undergrad degree, and basis that you can apply for MBA. Also, your knowledge that you have gained in your ACCA curriculum helps you immensely. I have another question from Piyush, which says, if someone is a CA, then how many papers is he required to clear? You get, as of now, as on 10th of February 2023, you get 9 exemptions for the first 9 papers, knowledge level and skill level. You have to write only 4 exams, which is your professional level exams, 2 compulsory papers, strategic business leader, strategic business reporting, and 2 optional papers out of the remaining 4. Would I need to get additional help from elsewhere if I choose to complete my ACCA with Zell? How many intakes are available in a year? Does Zell help with placement? So let me answer the specific parts of this question. We do provide placement assistance to our students. If you want to join Zell at the knowledge level, of course, there are batches which are running all around the year. For skill level and professional level, the exams are in March, June, September, December. So the training for this starts 2.5 months before the exam attempt, and then we train students for the respective attempts. So that way we have 4 intakes in a year for ACCA exams. Now there's one question which says that, what is the passing percentage of ACCA in India? To answer your question better, the pass percentage is subject wise. Certain subjects have a very high 55 to 60% pass rate. Some subjects could be around 38 to 40% also. But on an average, if I were to say, the pass rate is 50%, as opposed to something like a CA, for example, where the pass percentage could be in single digits also. Fair enough? Any questions that you have, please feel free to ask those in the chat box. I have my colleague Ubaid, who's also a part of this discussion. He will be answering your questions as we move along. Your question is, who will train us professionally and in all respect of course, we have ACCA qualified members on as a part of our faculty pool, and your training will be done by ACCA members and chartered accountants. So there's Ubaid, I'll take this one. Is ACCA and CPA correlated? So ACCA is Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, United Kingdom. It gives you the flexibility to operate in around 180 countries across the globe. CPA is administered by the AICPA, which is a body in the United States of America. They are correlated in the sense that both are accounting, auditing, taxation related courses, but the bodies administering these courses are located in different geographies. So if I were to talk about ACCA subjects, we have at the knowledge level, which is the base level, we do have business and technology, management accounting, financial accounting, which are all computer-based on-demand exams, multiple choice. At the skill level, which is the intermediate level, we have performance management, law, taxation, UK taxation, financial reporting, audit assurance, and financial management, 6 papers, out of which law is 100% MCQ exam. The other papers are, of course, they have a judicious mix of 60% MCQs, remaining is descriptive. And the professional level, you have 4 papers, out of which 2 are compulsory. The remaining 2 have to be 2 options out of 4 between AFM, that is Advanced Financial Management, Advanced Audit, Advanced Performance Management, and Advanced Taxation. You have to choose 2. Achha, before we move ahead, I would request my colleague Ubaid to walk all of you through the process of ACCA at Zell, so that a lot of your individual questions can be taken care of. Over to you, Ubaid.
Hello, everyone. Hi, thank you, Satyamed, for the informative session. Regarding the training at Zel Education, I'll help you guys, whoever are planning to go for this course. So first of all, we have been training ACCA for last 7 to 8 years. And we are one of the few platinum institutes in India. So technically, platinum institute means that we have always maintained our passing rate above 85%. So quality-wise, we are very thorough with the content that we give to our students, the way we teach them, and the number of classes that we take, the doubt-solving sessions, everything. So here, basically, the first 4 papers in ACCA, you can give anytime that you want. But for the remaining 9 papers, you have to follow March, June, September, and December, these months. Okay, so at Zell Education, along with the training, we give you the notes and everything. We conduct mock tests regularly so that we are aware how our students are going to perform in the live classes. And our faculties are the ones who are actually telling the mentors to book the papers when they feel that, okay, the student is confident. Now, regarding some questions that are there. So someone asked that after 12th, is it fine to start ACCA alongside bachelor's degree, or should I start it before? So ACCA, when you see the overall journey, it takes around 3 years time for you to complete this 13 papers comfortably. After 12th standard, you are a full-time student for another 3 years, and doing ACCA, which is in fact a professional qualification, will benefit you doing it after your 12th. Okay, so we have many students who usually start with the weekday option after 12th standard, which is Monday to Thursday, and it's usually in the evening time. Now, why we keep our classes in the evening, which is post 5:30 or 6 o'clock, because all the people who are teaching you, they are all working professionals, right? So they themselves have done these papers, they have been through the journey, and they are working and they are implementing the concepts at work. So it's kind of a discussion you will see in the class where they discuss various case studies they have worked in, which concepts of ACCA where they have used, right? So everyone who is teaching you here is a working professional. So down the line, we are able to help students with placement opportunities as well. Whenever we get some placement opportunities, we train our students, we let them know how to apply for the same. Everything is part of your process when you're doing ACCA with Zel Education. When you are doing ACCA after BAF degree, so there are certain exemptions again. Once you are graduated, you can connect with us with one of our executives, and we can check your mark sheets and we can check how many exemptions are availing to you. So there is a dedicated number on our website. You can find the number in the chat box also. I'll drop down the number. So there are various exemptions. So it's not necessary that everyone has to go through all the 13 papers. Do we provide international placement? No, we have, the placements that we usually have are more towards India because all our faculties are based across India through the references in their own companies. And, they might be aware of certain placement drive that is going on. So that is how we are giving you the placement opportunities. We do get certain international placements, but those are rare. Names of the subjects and ACCA requires articleship. Yes, ACCA has 36 months of practical experience requirement. Now it's not like articleship where you are dedicating 3 years continuously under a manager or doing it in a a CA firm, right? Here in ACCA, basically any experience in accounts and finance definitely can be counted in those 3 years of practical experience requirement. For all the subjects, you guys can download the brochure also from our website. The brochure has the details of all the subjects in ACCA that we have, plus the journey, the duration, everything. The brochure will help you understand. And if not, I can give you my details also, and you can connect with me on my WhatsApp and we can take it ahead. Starting salary of ACCA in India. So it totally depends on how many years of work experience do you have prior to joining based on ACCA. Are you a complete fresher? How many papers you have done? So the good part about ACCA as a course is you don't need to complete the course to tell anyone that you are pursuing ACCA. People can hire you based on ACCA even after skill level, which is completion of first 9 papers. Now, many graduates, they get first 4 papers exempt. So their journey is just about 5 papers. They clear those 5 papers. They're eligible for placement opportunities. So starting salary, when you ask me for a fresher, it's 5 to 7 lakhs per annum, which you can expect after completion of at least, some papers of skill level. Going ahead, when you have certain experience, you have completed professional level, you can expect a good amount of hike in your existing package. Yeah, so those are all the questions that I can see, and I guess I've answered most of them. Any other thing you guys want me to help you understand? I will just brief you about different types of batches we have. We have weekend batches, which is Saturday 4 hours, Sunday 4 hours. And we have weekday option, which is Monday to Thursday, 2 hours in the evening. So the curriculum is set, the number of hours we know, how much to teach, when to conduct the unit test, everything. It's pre-decided, right? So here weekly unit tests are there, mock tests are there, and the books are delivered to your home. So that is another thing that we do because we want you guys to, read the content that we provide and what our faculties are using in the class. And I guess there are very few academies. In fact, I am not aware of any, but there are very few academies who have their own curriculum team, working 24/7 and updating the curriculum for you guys to understand in a very simplified language. And someone asked about diploma in IFRS. So it's again, it's a short-term crash course kind of thing where you dedicate 6 months of preparation. And the paper of IFRS is 100% subjective. It's given in June or December. You can decide for the June batch. Currently, we are taking enrollments for the June attempt. So that is possible right now. The window is open for that. And diploma in IFRS, it takes around 5 to 6 months of preparation, and you give that 100 marks paper, which is purely subjective. So there is 25 marks, 4 questions that you have to attempt. Yeah, so Satyamed, I guess I have answered all the questions. I can't see any new questions here.
Perfect. So guys, any questions that you have, you can always reach out to us. You can reach out to our experts who will guide you on all aspects of ACCA. Questions that might pop up in your head a little later also, please feel free to reach out. The number is there on the website. I'm sharing my screen once again for you to note down the number. Please make sure that whatever questions you have, you park those, you collect those questions, and you ask us whatever doubts you might face. And our team of experts will be there to guide you on all aspects. So we are looking forward to you joining us and becoming a part of the Zell ecosystem. So do not wait to reach out. Do reach out to our experts, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in one of my classes very soon.
Thank you so much, Satyamed, for this session. And I have given my numbers also to the people who have genuine questions in the chat box. I hope they reach out to me and I can clear them out. And thank you again. And I hope you guys had certain clarity on which way you need to move your career in. We have very much expert people. We have ACCA members who are working from our office. So if you want to have any more counseling session, or if you want any guidance from from a experienced person, don't hesitate to reach out and we will help you out there. Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good day. Looking forward to seeing you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.